Good night, good evening, and welcome to Mindful Live 365. No, 66. Wow, I'm wrong all how. 466. Wow, I'm 100 behind. Welcome. It is presently the 20th of February in the year of our Lord 2025, and we're here in the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, paradise on earth. They say it doesn't exist. They also say God has his residence here. So I mean, something must be interesting in this place. And then on Thursday, what we do is we talk. We discuss whatever topics come up on the inside of the live. If you want, you can join the discussion over on TikTok. Actually join and physically talk here, well, audibly talk here, and we can hear you and go on with the discussion if you'd like. Feel free over on TikTok. Yeah, Nashman says election is in the air. Once you're on the inside, hit that like button over on TikTok. You double tap the screen out there. That's how you hit the like button there. And on YouTube, yes, you do hit that like button too. If you are viewing this live on YouTube, hit that like button. Do share this with folks who might like this kind of content. Share it, drop a comment, tell me what you think. But yes, Nashman, the election season is in the air and they're looking to build houses for squatters. You know, I was speaking about this a while back, in that I understand the spirit of squatting to some extent, as in something feels unfair. Two very subjective words right there, feels and unfair. But yes, something feels unfair about the prospect that the land I am born in, the land they say I am a citizen of this nation, this piece of dirt and the earth, I cannot own a piece of it for me to live on. That doesn't feel fair. And with good reason. It does not feel fair. How are you to tell me that I am a Trini, but I just cannot own piece of Trini to live? I cannot afford to live in the place that they say belongs to me. I understand why that would seem unfair. And the greater that problem comes in a society, this isn't saying that it is unfair, because I find the whole prospect of fairness to be a very hard concept to come about even in the first place. But just the reality of that, the worse it gets in a society, the more people there are in a society that can't afford to live somewhere, and they're seeing a few people living comfortably, very comfortably, it's going to create problems in your society without a doubt. Of course it's going to create problems. And that's how we have squatting, etc., and you know, you understand the context of it. How do you mean the state owns land? Then they tell me the state represents me, but the state owns land and I can't live on the land. Nah, I'm going to squat on it. At the reasoning that many people have. Now, at the same time, that reasoning can't really be left to stand. You can't really leave that reasoning to stand in society, because if nobody, or if a lot of people, if anybody could just go and live on a piece of land for free, then why would anybody pay to do it? The whole idea of property rights kind of disintegrates if you allow some people to do it for free. Then that kind of seems like an incentive that everyone should do it for free. Well, I mean, how is it that someone in the middle class of society is waking up 4 o'clock to go to work and coming back from work 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock every day for decades on end, just to be able to afford for their family to have a home? and then you're going to tell them all of that effort you would give to someone else for free. Does that seem fair? It really doesn't. But the reality is, squatters be voting. Regardless of someone's position in society, in the nature of what a democracy is everyone votes. And if there is a large enough constituency of people that will vote for their selfish benefit, even when it might be to the detriment of others, how would the democratic system react to that, eh? It's Thursday, people. Thursday Talks. Feel free to ask questions, leave a comment. If you want to jump in, feel free to click and join in. We'd have that discussion. Was looking at what was making the news this week. Several very interesting stories out there. Even that squatting story. To dive further into that story, something doesn't quite seem to add up inside of there. I think there's some... Do you think Anita Haynes would get through at the UNC? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think Tanticams and the present incarnation of the UNC stands for dissent in their ranks like that. I just don't think that's how they're going to take it. The thing is, though, Anita Haynes is liked by her constituents by and large, so it would be interesting. But the UNC has a very strong pull over their supporters, so even if she's liked, it's not like... I think was it her saying she was willing to run under a different party or independent or something of the like. And I don't actually think she has enough pull. The nature of UNC support, I don't think she has enough pull to pull away any significant contingent of UNC supporters to her person. Not gonna happen. If the UNC doesn't pick you, you don't get through. That's just the reality of how that's going to fit and go. But yeah, even in that squatting situation, something there seems like there's more to the story. You watch it, you watch the videos, you watch the pictures of what is happening there, and it's not all the same. There are some buildings that look like, yeah, these people were squatting here for some time. Then there are some buildings like Darius Resmi. Then there are some buildings like, wait, this seems like a very recent building. And then you look at the development of the area and it looks like heavy machinery was down in the back there. Like, how are you telling me you are a squatter struggling for a place to live and heavy machinery is prepping the land for you to squat on? There have been allegations that there were squatting lords in those areas. That there were squatting lords in the area. That was a continuation of what's happening for all along in the east, from as far as Valencia. There have been people, just how there was the illegal quarrying, people taking land, taking vast pieces of land and setting it up for illegal squatting settlements. And if that is the case, can you really blame the state for trying to cut that out? Yeah. Any further comments on the inside? It's Thursday Talks. We're talking. Any questions? Hey, I saw what could probably be one of the best political gimmicks, political ploys in a long time I have seen. In a long time. I saw over in the US, they're planning the Doge team that says they're going through the government and cutting waste and fraud. Their plan is for all the money that they cut, they're going to send a check out to their citizens. So they save X amount and they send a check of a certain percentage of it. Money in hand is one of the most effective political strategies. Human beings love money in hand. That's just the reality. Any comments, questions on the inside, people? Or do we just run through a couple articles? No one interested in talking. All right. Something interesting I was watching of late too. A story that made quite a bit of a headline. The man that was caught on camera abusing the children, and I believe the mother of the children was murdered a year ago or something to that effect. And the man was caught on camera abusing the children and had a weapon, and compounding it to all that extent, I see now that when he went to court, he was given bail. Small bail, in fact. And I wonder about these things. Like, again, with the murder cases that came up, and they said, can murders then be given bail? And the Privy Council said, well, legally they should allow it as a possibility. And then people were complaining, why are murderers being given bail? But to me, the question is, why is the system as such that the magistrates allow bail for that? Like, my understanding of the point and purpose of bail as a layman, not into the technicality of the legality of the situation, just as a layman, the reason and purpose for bail. Well, when someone is arrested and charged, before the court case is finalized, before they are found guilty or innocent, before the court case can run its course, before that happens, the person is innocent until they can be proven guilty. And the thing is, sometimes the process of attempting to prove them guilty could take some time. So especially when the case is you're really not sure if they're guilty, you allow them to pay some money to put something down as equity, as it were, that they aren't going to run away. That they aren't going to run away. And okay, makes sense, and you allow them some freedom there because you haven't proven them guilty yet. But I always thought that you have a judge so that a judge can give you judgment. Like, if it's just some technicality of a law and which person could quote the right law and all this kind of weirdo stuff, then it's best we forget the judges and put an AI algorithm to just read the information as it's served in, and the AI algorithm will give us a readout of who is guilty and who is innocent and the results of the case at the end. I think the judges should be there for judgment, and for the sake of judgment. How is it that a man could be seen in video abusing a child, held for that, and then you give him bail to go out there? Like, how does that work? What needs to change so that this does not happen? Because whatever needs to change for this not to happen, I'd like to see that change, please. I think it will be wise to tax criminals. Example, increase bail for certain crimes from 10% to 25%. To me, it's not even about the price. It's not just about the price. Because varying the price of bail is really a matter of punishing the poor more or punishing the poor less. It's kind of like that. To me, certain things should not be given bail. Or it should be to the level, as you said, if it's increasing, to the level where every bit of private property you own should be on the line for this. Most of the people on remand right now cannot even afford bail, Abdul Hakam says. Well, you see, that's the thing, Abdul. And that's why I said it's not really just a problem of bail price in and of itself. It's about bail access. Why give someone bail? Because on making the price higher or lower is just a matter of whether the person is too poor or wealthy enough. That's really what you're checking for then. But why? If it's nearly already understood that someone is guilty, why would you give them bail? If someone is on their 5th allegation of murder, why would you give them bail? What we really need to do is speed up the court process. I agree, but alas, how is that done? If the court system was not backlogged, then bail would be necessary, but years to end a matter. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, even if the courts were as speedy as ever, bail would still be something in some cases. Even if a case is 2 weeks to finish, certain things, yes, someone should be given the access to bail. Even for 2 weeks, you don't want to throw some people inside of the jail system if they are very likely innocent. And that's the idea of bail. To me, the idea of bail, there's a reason accused are getting plea deals right now. To me, the idea of bail is that only an innocent person should be able to access bail. But the problem is, you haven't determined who is innocent yet, so that's why the people who are allowed to access it are from a wider range. But to me, once someone is generally suspected and believed to be guilty, I don't want them to get bail. Because I don't know how people think about it, but bail, you're not supposed to be allowed out of prison when you're guilty. Once you're found guilty, you don't get to get bail. Bail is for people who are accused. So if you are indeed guilty, even if before you are proven guilty, as in a court of law, if you are believed most likely guilty, I think that should be grounds also, easy up on the bail. But we cannot say that until found guilty in court. And this is what I was just saying, Abdul. I thought judges were selected for judgment. So that, in fact, yes, We can say that before it's proven in court. That's why there is a hearing for bail. And if during that hearing for bail, it can be shown to the judge that this brute is on video beating this child mercilessly and trying to use a weapon on the child, there are these many witnesses, the man doesn't even really deny it, then why would we offer him bail? Okay, the case itself hasn't gone through the full extent. But even in the hearing for bail, if you hear that as a judge, can't we use judgment to determine that this man should not be on the streets? Well, it's a Thursday running, but you know, I was just looking at a bit of an article as some people, as I was waiting on some questions and comments. Small bail for dad charged with child cruelty. Charged with cruelty to a child, Kevon Noel will only be allowed contact with the 8-year-old alleged victim through permission and supervision by the Children's Authority. Noel, 43, of Marak Village, Maruga, appeared before Master Kimitria Gray in the San Fernando court yesterday. He was placed on the $20,000 bail with a cash alternative of $10,000 with the conditions that he reports to the Maruga police station 3 times a week and have no direct or indirect contact with the child unless it's permitted and supervised by the Children's Authority. Ronnie, I don't understand that. I don't understand why that would be bailable in the first place. If people know how hard it is to get a bailer to take a small bail, that's kind of irrelevant still to me. Because they were still given the bail. What's that?
Yeah, mic is really soft. This was not it on?
I don't know.
Do you want to come?
Hello?
Yeah, here, sir.
Hey, yeah, Chief.
What going on?
I did. You see, here the problem with what you're saying there, and I agree with what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm.
But here the problem. Our justice system is not a speedy one. And when you deny this man from getting bail, and the case takes 15 years, this man is incarcerated without a conviction or sentencing for 15 years. Mm-hmm. However, the sentencing that he may have gotten, even though proven guilty, might have a maximum penalty of 5 years. So he would in fact be incarcerated for 10 years more, and the state will now have to pay him for 10 years of extra incarceration, as opposed to, do you understand the dilemma we were in?
Yeah.
When they don't get bail?
Mm-hmm.
The first place we need to really start is expediting our justice system.
I totally agree. And that's why I said when the Privy Council overturned our bail amendment and the Privy Council said that our Parliament does not have the authority to refuse people bail, I agree. Even for the murder accused, I agree. Because murder accused isn't murder guilty. And I think regardless of whatever the case might be, bail is a sensible alternative in the judicial system because you are innocent until proven guilty. I understand and I agree. What I'm saying though is I would have expected that a judge would use judgment in this. So even for the example you said there, all right, so let's say the maximum sentence for the case that this man faces, for me, child endangerment with a weapon and all of that, the max should be somewhere for life, but okay, let's say the max is 15 as it stands. Well, you have no bail until 10 years in. And if the case takes more than 10 years, well then reapply for bail in 10 years.
That don't make sense, Nathan.
Why doesn't that make sense?
As much as we might emotionally find they should not get bail based on emotion, right? When you have someone when you have someone waiting on a matter to call, because not everyone that gets charged with an allegation, charges an offense, is found guilty in court. So when an individual spend 7 years waiting for a matter to be completed, and then is found innocent after 7.5 years, incarcerated in the worst part of the prison, because remand is the worst part of the prison to be in. Right? He was just found innocent. What is the recompense to this person now for the 7 years financial loss and life loss that you cannot recuperate?
So then in that case, then every person charged should be given bail?
The law is set up in that way.
No, but no. But every person charged is not given bail. That's not true.
But even a murder accused can get bail right now.
Hear what you're saying, Abdul. Hear what you're saying. Can get is not the same as will get or must get.
How long can you deny bail for? You can't just throw somebody in jail who has an allegation against them. A magistrate does not see all the evidence in that initial hearing. Does not.
Yes, I don't deny this. I am not denying this, Abdul. But are you saying that the judge, we are calling these people judges because we have hired them to have judgment? Are you saying we should not allow them to look at the evidence and judge whether this person should be allowed bail or not?
What you're talking about here is the actual trial.
No.
Right?
Wait. Do you wait? No, I'm not talking. Wait. I am not talking about the trial. You know there's a hearing to determine if you will access bail and how much the bail would be. You know this, right?
If that person pleads not guilty, right? Right there and then.
What's that?
Magistrate that person is guilty. That person now has the right, according to the law, to have his time to defend himself in court when every evidence.
I am not talking about that. So I am talking about the hearing for bail. Is there a hearing for bail, Abdul?
Yes, there is a hearing.
So you're saying there should never be a hearing for bail. Once a person is charged, they should be let out until their court case arrives.
No,
That basically every matter.
What's that?
But then what's
That does happen with every matter.
So then, certain matters, depending on how the judge judges it, they could determine that this person is too much of a risk, so we would either send the bail up to a number that is inaccessible, or they will be refused bail. Doesn't that happen?
But even if you send the number up to an
Doesn't that? But answer, just answer. Doesn't it happen?
that does not prove what you're saying, Nathan.
I just want to know if it happens. Does it happen that a judge can determine?
It happens every day, Nathan. That happens every day.
Right. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. A judge can make the judgment that someone should not, depending on the evidence that is presented in a preliminary hearing, depending on that, a judge could decide you get bail, you don't get bail, your bail is 20,000, your bail is 2 million.
And then I could apply to judge in chambers and get bail.
You could apply all over, but either way you have to apply to a judge and the judge can deny it.
Yes, but what you are saying, Nathan, is not what actually happens. A magistrate does not see all the evidence.
I didn't say all. I didn't say all. Of course it's...
Listen. So
Yeah.
how can you say this person is guilty without all the evidence? That does not make sense.
It's not about all the evidence. It's about... Here's what it's about. It's if this person has a previous criminal record, they are known to be a member of a gang, there's evidence laid out before me that they were caught in the act, they were caught with the weapon. There are 3 witnesses. The witnesses,
Violent in the area.
they are known to be violent and all of that. Okay, we haven't gone through and heard all of their lawyers' arguments. Their lawyers haven't gone to the Privy Council as they might, all of that. We haven't reached that yet. But with the evidence that I see as a judge here, this case looks like this person is most likely guilty. Yes, I could get... Wait. Yes, I could get it wrong. But the power given me in the system as a judge is to have judgment. And what I'm saying is I would like that judgment be used better. Okay, I understand that we have a delayed judicial system. What does that mean? That all criminals now should be caught and let out for the next 20 years while we wait on their cases? Or we work with the system we have, and the judges, for the sake of what is good and right in this society, attempt to help the citizens in the criminal situation and not let out people on bail.
Let me say one thing before Ronnie come up. Forget the delayed system. You have to take into consideration, as I previously said, not every accused is guilty.
Innocent.
Sometimes hear me out. We have seen instances in the past where this person, they charge this person and they make it this big thing, and he's guilty. For public emotion, he's guilty. Years down the road, after the police investigators gather all the evidence and the DPP approved the evidence to come to the trial, he was found innocent. Do you think? And yes, it will have real criminals that will also be protected by such laws in place, but the laws are really there to protect the innocent percentage that also gets caught up in the system, whether we like that or not, is factual and it happens. Whether we like that or not. This is why you can't just say, this system 10 years in jail, and then 10 years later they find him innocent. 10 years and he life gone. Children is not big man or woman. He lost his house, he lost his work. How is he being...
That's leaning on the belief that most people arrested and charged are innocent. Yeah, Ronnie, jump in there. Say what you have to say.
Two things, right? One, just because somebody after how much years gets a not guilty verdict means that they were really not guilty. Sometimes it's just lack of evidence, which happens a lot. We know that. So to put it like, oh, this person was innocent, that's probably not true all the time. But the second thing is, in certain cases where there is enough, all the other one is evidence, but there is enough
evidence is the word.
For lack of better evidence, then why give bail? You catch a man, or a man is you catch a man in a roadblock or whatever. He has a gun in the car. Why is he giving bail? The gun was in his possession. What is there to prove that he didn't have?
You have to go to court because.
So yes, you have to go to court, but why is he giving bail?
No matter what.
Why is he giving bail?
Here's what I do like, Ronnie. And the thing is, Ronnie, the thing is, Ronnie and Abdul, I'll call you out on this. If this was an Islamic society, Abdul will be all for the sensible thing being that. Wait now, Abdul, let me finish. If this was in that society, you'd be all for the sensible thing obviously being done in the sensible way. But here, we all have to pretend like everything have to be technicality, and we'll technicality ourselves into criminality. and we'll play like we okay with this. What I'm saying is we don't want that in our society. Why can't we have a nice high trust society where we could trust that our judges could make a judgment call? Where a man, bear in mind what I'm using as the jump off to speak about this. The man caught on tape with witnesses and neighbors abusing the children of a murdered woman. That's the man we're talking about. And they let him out on small bail. Because what? Because what? This isn't a case where the evidence is really iffy here. We're not sure how this is gonna go. No, this isn't that. This is just, it has to go through the process of the law. We kinda see how this is going. And the reality is, judges could get it wrong all the time. There are cases that went through the courts, people were convicted and they were wrongly convicted. It happens. So yes, it is possible for a judge to deny bail and the person was actually innocent. But here are the layers that as a society we attempt to put in there so that an innocent person isn't generally caught up. For you to be in that position, police have to arrest you. Then they have to charge you. They have to bring you before the courts. The court has to see the preliminary evidence. And just from the face of it, looking at the face of the case, you have to look guilty. The chances of an innocent person being caught up with the police, proven to be enough evidence, wait now boy, enough evidence to be charged, brought before the courts, all of that circumstantial evidence look convincing to a judge that they refuse bail, but yet they're innocent. Not saying it's impossible, but it's much slimmer. And when people try to argue for the 1 out of a billion innocent people there, they sound like those Soros prosecutors in the US that are actually on the criminal side.
Okay, cool. Let me say something here now. And these are facts that people would like to hear.
Mm-hmm.
First thing first, and I just want to touch that quick.
Yeah.
If you know anything about how an Islamic court supposed to run, they can't convict nobody without witnesses. Period. Right? So bypass that. But Miss Lady,
hey,
you can't convict nobody without witnesses.
He browsing past that.
Period. So bypass that, right? I know 2 instances in Trinidad and Tobago. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I know a man. I personally know a man on death row right now who was in the bed when the offense take place. I personally know the man. He was home in the bed when the incident take place. Witness went in court and lied. He was convicted in the High Court. He on death row. He was in the bed sleeping. Is his brother do the crime, not he? And he on death row right now. He on death row right now. Right?
But he was found guilty, yeah?
I'm not finish.
Yeah.
2 other men I know about, I ain't calling them fellas' name, gave each other murder case. They gave one another case. You hear what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
But here one, I get one, you take one too. Guys, what play off? One way the case the other day. This is the reality of the system we're dealing with. So this the notion that 1% or that 1 in a billion way you're saying, the system is so corrupted and that I don't think Trinidadians would like to hear the reality of the court system and the justice system we're dealing with in Trinidad and Tobago. It have lots of people who false witnesses being paid against them in the court, under oath, in Trinidad and Tobago.
Here's
not just false witness too, but you also have as we saw the other day with Ula Christopher, and I make no apologies when I said I'm glad that it happened to her. Clear case of malicious prosecution, and you have that happening because my statement about that is that she is just experiencing what John Public have been complaining about for decades in this country, where police know they didn't do something, but because they want to look good in front of John Public, because they want to up the statistics score, they charge you anyway. You understand?
Yeah, but here's what I would say on that. Those examples that you use there, Abdul, false witnesses and stuff. The guy on death row, was found guilty already if he's on death row. That's already past bail. So yes, that all that says is that systems get it wrong, and I'm not denying that. But that is beside the bail argument, because that's irrelevant to the bail argument. That went past bail already. That past being found guilty. So yes, people could lie on you and drag you in. I am not denying that. Yes, all right, yes. But that still doesn't deny, that still doesn't change the idea that I want judges to use judgment. Yes, people could lie and try to bring you up on cases. Does that mean that all cases should be thrown out? No. And you know, the interesting thing is, in almost all of those instances you spoke about there, the guys sound like they were involved in activities anyway. And that's kind of...
I said the man brother, not the man.
Yeah,
the man
just now. They sound like there was some involvement anyway.
That is an assumption.
Okay. You say it's his brother. He is on death row, and he never told anyone that it was his. Okay. So he has no involvement, but it was his brother. And he never, but he has no involvement. I'm just saying it sounds suspicious. And that's the whole idea of a judge. A judge is supposed to listen even in the preliminary and see, okay, do you have previous convictions? Okay, have you had previous run-ins with the law? What is the evidence they have? How many witnesses? Oh, did they find the weapon? Where did they find the weapon? Okay. Now, this looks like a case that is going to be fought out really bitterly. You get bail because we really don't know. If it is that you look like you are a killer, you don't get bail and you go to jail, and when we figure out what is happening, then you are released. I am okay with that system. That's how the system is supposed to function.
How does a killer look, mate? How does a killer look? Are you talking about a man who have no conviction other than that conviction? None.
I'm not talking about that man, you know. I just created a scenario. I created an example.
Why? This is a perfect, and that case take 15 years. That's already. That case take 15 years before it was settled. So that person spent 15 years in remand.
And get convicted?
Before being convicted. 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know a next person.
Yeah, and here's it. Here, I read all these. They are 19 years, they are 20 years too.
Listen to the plea deals are given, right?
Mm-hmm.
They spend 10 years or more in remand for the capital offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plead guilty, listen, whether you're innocent or not, if you want to come out of the jail, whether you're innocent or not.
Yeah.
If you want to come out of the jail, plead guilty. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You give you a sentence, you will get time served taken off for your sentence, right? And wherever you might do a 2-3 years after that, whether you're innocent or guilty. So a man who served 10 or 15 years, being innocent, and just say, well, I fed up and I want to come out of the prison in remand. I'm going to plead guilty and come out of here. This is what is taking place today.
But that takes place in every court, in every police station, in every jurisdiction all over the world.
I don't deny that. And I'm not saying that's a good thing.
For reducing a sentence.
But that's
But I can just say something.
yeah.
Just to counter what you said, like how many people or how much cases it have come up after somebody on bail did something. A man on bail kill come back again in court with allegedly murdering somebody or allegedly raping somebody or all kind of thing. You on bail and you are gaining more. Just how it was saying, you are on bail and gaining more alleged allegations against your name, right? So yeah, it's a two-sided something, and I agree with you to a degree. But at the end of the day, if there is evidence of it, I am sorry, you will have to sit down in jail. And there are certain things, just now, there are certain things. If you are found with the smoking gun, no bail. Plain and simple.
You know what I say, right? The need is proper structure. Alright. If you want
Latest nemesis.
2 or 3 bail matters, cool. Don't give a bail. But
2 or 3, if you have one.
Because that's why certain crimes are categorized. It have certain crimes that is serious crimes against the population, and it have other crimes that is not them kind of crimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the law does differentiate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who want robbery and them kind of case, sure that you come and get a next robbery case again, you have 2 robbery cases pending again. Fine, don't get them no bail. Fine, I don't have no problem with that. Cool. But to say a man that's get charged, especially when it's a first offense, especially, I'm not saying about a man innocent or guilty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do not know.
Crimes against children, where the evidence is high against you, should never be a bailable offense. If they raid your home and find you with a hard drive full of that kind of disgusting stuff, I don't care. I don't care if the court case is next 20 years. They should lose you under the jail. And you might say it's an emotional reaction, but it's a human logical reaction too. I hate the idea that somehow we are linked to a system and we haven't let the system go. So we seeing that this pedo is out there. We know he's a pedo, but you know the system is struggling. No!
What was the main reason? What was the main cause of the Privy Council? See, a person allowed to get shut down the bail on my man to get bail for the capital offense. What was the main reason? The main reason is because he length of time the matter was taken in court.
No, that was not the main reason. I read the case. That was the reason that was proffered by the lawyers. That was one of the reasons that the defendant's lawyers gave. But the reason the Privy Council gave was separation of authority, separation of power, because the Parliament is not supposed to have that judicial power. The Parliament is not supposed to be able to tell an accused person that you can't access bail, because the Parliament is not the branch of government that is in charge of dealing with the accused people. The branch that is in charge of dealing with the accused people is the judiciary. So what the Privy Council said was that all murderers could be given no bail. All of them. But that needs to come from the judiciary, and that's the problem I'm having. So when the murderers are given bail now, all the time, the magistrate, the judge could have said no. But what we want is that we want it to go to the Parliament. So the Parliament say, you all could never give them bail, and that way the judges don't have to bad talk their friends. I don't want to say anything and put myself outside, but the judges don't have to make that decision against their allies. It's because Parliament tell we can't get no bail. But when it's all up to you and criminal man sit down there watching you eye to eye, you have to decide now you get no bail. And that's what apparently they can't do. So the Privy Council didn't say that you have to give them bail because of the time. You could stay there and wallow in prison the whole time. But it must come from the judiciary.
But they have been. But look at what they've been doing since the Privy Council judgment, right? Look what they've been doing. When it comes to bail for the people on capital offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have been setting the bail nothing under $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them know what they do there. Is either $1 million or $1 million and something. You have to go and sign every single day. You have to be who? I see one man. He bill was $1 million something. You had to go and sign every day. You had to be home by 6 o'clock.
Never see no real men in jail, you know.
No, that was that when I read on the news, there's a case down south.
Oh.
That was the stipulation, so it didn't really make sense coming out of the jail with them kind of stipulation. But it is still is. That what they're doing. That is what they're doing. One or two men take the stipulations and come out, but the majority of men on that charge still in there sit down.
But there have been some that came out on the bail. I remember one of the early ones who came out on the bail. He was actually murdered when he came out on bail on the murder charge. But he came out and he wasn't on that stringent of a stipulation. But that's kind of the point. That's just the point I'm making. And the point that Ronnie made is such a true thing, that if you live in these communities that are distressed by crime and criminals, you know nearly every one of those pests that distress the community is on bail for some charge or the other. Some charge or the other. Every single one of them is out on bail for one thing or the other. And something is wrong with that. Something is wrong. It's not like you go around Trinidad and there are a bunch of good, nice, law-abiding citizens out on bail. Many of the people out on bail are the ones still giving trouble.
Ask how much of them, Nathan, actually have a conviction on the name after all the charges against this guy. Very few, no.
Let me tell you why. Because the case fizzles out all over time. And then some of them are fugitives until they catch them for being a fugitive. Then they're out on bail for being a fugitive. By the time the case called for them being a fugitive, they are a fugitive again because they're not going and show up. The police going and take the next 5 years to come down in the ghetto and look for them. By the time 5 years pass, they come down and look for them for that last fugitive case. They go and they bring them up on a summons again. They're out on bail again and rinse and repeat. So it doesn't make any sense. You put them out on bail and say, well, come to the court case, and they aren't going to come. And what's going to happen when they don't come? You send out a next summons for them. By the time the police reach and do that, they do the same thing again, out on bail, and they not come in.
We have a solution to this problem, Nathan. There's a solution, which is speed up the justice system. And we won't have this issue. But even when the Chief Justice told them take certain off of the law books, them things should not be something matters and come into court. A man get charged for obscene language shouldn't be coming to court.
I agree.
Them kind of things shouldn't, but they don't want to do that. So you will remain with the situation that we are in until you are willing to correct the court system.
I agree. That's why, like I say, nearly all road traffic incidents, forget about it. Nearly all of those tickets, forget about it. That is a waste of police time and court time. Right now, we are not. If we were Germany, if we were a country where our murder rate was 2 per 1,000, fine. A very, very, no, less than 2. If it was Dreglo, fine. But no. We can't be focused on the color of people's tint when we can't control murders. I don't think that makes sense. So I agree with you. I agree in theory with the decriminalization of marijuana too for a similar reason. You don't want to clog up the system with unnecessary small riffraff cases. You see those stupid obscene language combined with resisting arrest kind of cases, throw them out. If you know I hate them. How does a police officer charge you with resisting arrest only? How?
Can't.
But they do.
But they can't. That is what they do.
Like, what were you arresting me for that I resisted?
Yeah. Some of these things supposed to be just, alright, your cost, right, look, they take a ticket, go and pay that ticket, whatever.
But I don't even believe in a ticket. Listen, I believe that we should have a more respectful society. I think we would benefit from that. However, I think cussing should not be illegal. I think it should be like the US, and that will decrease the ego of our police so well, because you know trainees, no cuss combos like the back of the hand. If while you as a police officer are executing your duty, you must be able to listen to any words and leave it be. You can't be walking around with a chip on your shoulder and an ego right below the surface. That has to finish.
But again, our next election's gonna come. Everybody gonna go the rallies and nobody gonna jump up and say, or no group gonna say, well, unless we get XYZ done, we vote's not sure. Everybody just gonna jump one way in the rallies and the campaigns and motorcade and normal.
The thing is, the nature of our political system, the nature of our politics on a whole, is it's difficult to do those things. The nature of Trinidad, the nature of nearly all first past the post election, the democracy kind of thing, it's going to end up a two-horse race. Now, the nature of our two-horse race is it divides among racial lines. Fact. So we're ending up with two horses that are divided amongst racial lines. They aren't even differing on political ideology like you could create that discussion with them. Because that is the case, you can't go and carry some political theory to the PNM or to the UNC and insist that they adopt this, or else they will lose some factor, because it's not going to happen. UNC are still going to win their 15, 16 safe seats, same with PNM, and they'll fight up for the marginal constituencies where the real election goes on. And what decides those marginal constituencies is not whether they're going to stop giving tickets for nonsense, is not whether they're going to ease up on the firearms laws and stuff. No, that might be a result of who could mobilize their CPEP and URP teams and their groundwork teams and stuff. So it's never really about the issues. And how can you force the issues into a system like ours? Like, give some of those larger democracies some credit. Canada is a bit locked down like us, similarly very difficult to get any real change. But in the United Kingdom, where they have kind of the start of this, at least they are able to change the clothes much more often. The problem they have, similar to us, is the United Kingdom has been voting against immigration for the last 20 years, and each government gives them more immigration. Because you could tell a government what you'd like them to do, you can't make a government do it. So the United Kingdom ended up in a strange place where the majority of the people wanted to leave the European Union, but all of their leadership were elites well educated in advanced universities and stuff, and most people in that class love the European Union. So what kind of position do you find yourself in as a country when the people want X, but the leaders want the opposite of X? So, and we are in a kind of position, it's difficult to get out. It's difficult. How can we force Kamala Persad-Bissessar to do anything? How can we force Stuart Young to do anything? What could you dangle in front of them as a threat or a promise that would be tempting for them?
When you put it like that, so that it really makes sense, the whole system really makes sense. So I'm voting for.
Well, people will vote for you.
Oh, but if I have as a group, right, cannot influence any change to the benefit of the population, what is my vote really doing for me?
Well, this is the thing. Even if your entire group decides to stay away, unless everybody, even if you can't get everybody to stay away, so it really doesn't make sense. I think a lot of movements need to be social. A lot of movements need to happen within community and then
social and culture.
Yeah. I don't think it will be politically. We can't expect any change. They go in, they're talking one way to go in, and when they reach in, they realize, oh, wait, now, either one, their hands are really tied, and what they're telling us they could do, they can't do, or two, they just don't care to do anything at all. So it really and truly just comes down to the individual, the community.
That's where the quote. You're gonna say something else?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
That's where the quote politics is downstream from culture comes in, where the idea is that politics is too big of a behemoth for you to attempt to just influence on its own and sway and change and dictate the pace that it's going to go. But you always have an effect on culture. Every single person has an effect on culture. And the politics of a nation comes out of the zeitgeist of the culture. So whatever our present culture is, that's going to have an influence on the politics. And so you kind of never mind the politics to an extent and aim at the culture as much as humanly possible. Now, on the side of politics and whether it makes sense to vote and stuff, if you're looking for that kind of change, then voting doesn't give you that. That's not what's going to happen. What voting kind of is in our style of system is you're watching the group because, as Ronnie said, that's a fact. That's an indelible fact. You can't escape that truth in the democracy that we live in. That regardless of whether you vote or not, somebody is going to lead. Someone of the groups. And I don't actually buy into the belief that they are both the same. That is not true. In no political system, both parties are the same. That's not true. They are different. There are differences. They are different. So it's up to you to determine. You can't determine what they're going to do, but you can look at what they do and determine which one of them do the less worse. And that's kind of all you can do about the voting situation.
So let me ask, which one of them? Which one of them looking like they're interested in really dealing with the crime situation? Which one of them?
The crime situation?
None of them. Because they can't do it. Well, I don't want to say they can't do anything, because it's more than just sitting in parliament that affects how crime is handled. We need a better service, we need better justice system, and all of it could be done without politics, but they keep getting in the way.
This is my theory.
And they will continue to get in the way.
My theory, and I'm going bold. My theory is that I think the UNC would be more given to trying to stop the violent crime situation. Partially because you all remember what the guy from Barataria was saying 2 years ago that was already. Sawan Barataria saying that the what was it, urban group he said? The urban youths robbing them?
Yeah.
And that view is held by a contingent of people in the country. So, and that contingent is generally more UNC leaning. So there is a group that believes they are more the victims of violent crime. So I think it will be in their interest to at least visibly target that more. However, I also believe that the UNC is given to more general corruption. I am not saying the UNC is more corrupt in and of itself. I think they are given to more general corruption. I think the style of corruption that the PNM uses is the style that the system is built in with. They made the system, so they made the corruption into the system. The UNC is a different beast. And in order to allow more rampant corruption, criminality is given sway to. Because if you have a really good law enforcement bureau, law enforcement agency, then they will catch you in your corruption criminality too. So if you want to be on that corruption side, it's only so good you would want law enforcement to be. So that's a balance on the UNC's side. However, on the PNM side, I think they just aren't as interested on a whole, because that's where their constituents are, and I think they are very much aware if they were to front on tackle it, they would be facing some of their loyalists.
Apart from it, they're not in the areas to be affected by it anyway. Most of their elite members, they will never even have to pay nothing. Most of them are gun toting, guard having, gated community, everything. Time don't bother them. It doesn't. As far as they're concerned, they live in a crime-free country. As far as they know, as far as they experience. So, man.
Yes.
Listen, if there was to tackle the crime situation, tackle the court situation, the prison, if you go up on the highway, it has real. They could more than build a court up there. $100 million every year to begin with. Right? The criminal gangs, because most of the violent crimes is being gang associated, right? Where they getting all the firearms from? Where they getting all the guns and ammunition from? Where it coming from?
Babe.
All of them things not coming from Venezuela. I don't care what nobody.
Nah. But if that is by Abdul, you know, many times I get vexed on this live when people come and talk about smuggling in from Venezuela. While article after article, this was in the news already. Is America coming from? That is why we joined the case with Mexico to sue the American gun manufacturer, Cuba and Haiti. People is smuggling no gun from. What gun Cuba have? Guns from the 40s?
Guns with night.
These fellas rocking brand new ARs. Brand new ARs. But like all you can remember, when a certain, I ain't gonna call which one, but there was a certain warehouse that every month they were raiding and finding shipments of guns. I occasionally have to remind us of this. A certain warehouse in central Trinidad, nearly monthly, they were finding shipments of guns there. Then there was a case that came out. Some former customs officer was murdered in the car park of PriceMart, Mausika. And I think it was Mark Bassant did one of his stories and said the allegations on the underworld is that a team of police did that hit. And he was the informant for the guns that the police kept catching in that warehouse. And what would you know? After his death, they got no more guns. And those guns weren't coming from a pirogue over from Cuba and Cuba and Haiti. Come on. Who go in Haiti for guns?
You have to deal with customs. Deal with the Coast Guard. Deal with the court. Deal with the police service.
Everybody had to get weird.
I don't see no government going to do all that shaking up. Who would do all that shaking up?
Exactly. This is why it comes down to individuals. Okay, fine. We are acknowledging these guns and stuff coming in, and they are given to young men in these areas, right? That is what we see. That's what we are agreeing to. It is now time that these communities take back their young men and let them know this is not even to go down. It is a social movement. It is not going to happen in any political arena. None going to stop it, because best believe, anytime you're trying to stop one of them big wigs, your head might be rolling somewhere.
You know, that's why, to some extent, I believe ultimately. And that's why the US, they're framers of their constitution. That's why they had a Second Amendment, for reasons like this. It is very difficult to take back your community when you are not armed. That's just a reality. Listen, if Trinidad had armed, I keep saying this when people get frightened about people being armed and people. I would rather all of the fathers in my street have a Glock in their AR in their bedroom. I would feel so much safer than knowing all the riffraff pests are the only ones with guns. If the whole Lavantil Hill, Lavantil, Morva, Belmont region, it was only the fathers, because there are many stable households in that region, and do get tired. If it was only the stable fathers in their homes, had nice weapons that they kept clean, and they went to the range so they straight like that, if they wanted to take back their community, it would be very easy. When them tell them fellas ride out is to ride out. But now, how can someone take back the community when these guys literally have a private army of always high, punching drunk, fully dance young men willing to risk it all at a moment?
Them going beyond punching now, yes? Them fellas like zombies.
What?
Them fellas like zombies, Ronnie. They're going beyond punching. They're like zombies.
You can't take back a community really from guys like that. That's why I almost always say, like, in those kind of communities that have gone to that extent, where gangs have infiltrated and become a part of the community, you need, in a country like ours, you need the police to get rid of the gang before you ask the community to take it back. Because you're asking the community to die. That's what you're asking the community to do there.
But then they're going to die because the police not going to help them. Matter of fact, the police enabling the gangs. Allegedly. So therefore, what you need to do, if you are an honest person in these communities, is leave.
But crime.
That's literally the only thing you could do, because if you stay there, you either one, especially if you have children, you run the risk of your children becoming a part of it, or losing them to it, or
you can't afford to leave, Ronnie.
What do you mean I can't afford to leave?
Everybody can't just pick up and leave. If I own my house, right? Now the alternative can be I have to go on to pay $4,000, $5,000 rent.
Well, then to decide which one is more important.
Then I'm tell you what the alternative would be. And it's just because Trinidad is a real dumped down to cell society that it's not happening in our abundance yet. Women willing to go out and arm themselves whether it's legal or not. It's how people who do that, you know. You get tired, you know.
Here's the problem with that, Abdul. What do they call that? Anarcho. It's anarcho tyranny. Anarcho tyranny. And I remember I made a video on this a while ago. Here's the problem in a country like ours. We still have a functioning enough police service that if me, as a general law-abiding citizen, decide to arm myself, I am at high risk of ending up in jail. Because we have a good enough police service to do that. But they're not good enough to stop the criminal side, but they are good enough that I will end up in prison if I do that. So that's what they call the anarcho tyranny. The anarchy is on the side of the criminals, and the tyranny is on the side of you not even being able to protect yourself. And that is a frustrating prospect. And Ronnie, that is why many people decide to move. But if you can't move, you can't move. If it's too expensive, it becomes a very different thing. Remember, for most people, lower middle class, almost all of their wealth is tied up in their house. Everybody in the middle class, anytime they get a lump sum of money, they take out a credit union loan. What they go in and do with it? House improvements. All of your wealth is stored in your house. You can't pick up your house and move it. Are you going to get resale value for your house in a hotspot area?
Of course not. And for great reason, nobody don't want to live there.
So what do? Then go start over broke? It's a hard prospect. And even in those communities.
I will give you that. It's a sacrifice. But you're going to have to sacrifice something. You can't get it all. You can't live.
That sacrifice is running, right? When you leave your property abandoned, one or two things happen. Either the gangsters take over, or you just get dilapidated and run down, right? So now you're putting your own children at a disadvantage Because them do never ask that. So now them come out, them and want look to parents and all too. Problems. That was bad. It's the situation.
And then there's a reality like this. If you as the quote unquote good ones all leave, the place is only gonna get worse, eh?
Yes, that's why you're leaving. Because it's getting worse still.
Yeah, but you understand, you understand it's a self-fulfilling feedback loop.
So I, with my good self, will be the buffer between these two guys.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, or that you should stay or anything like that. I'm showing the realities of it and why it becomes a difficult reality, why it becomes such a problem for the whole country. And that's why I say it's not that it's poverty causes crime, it's vice versa. Crime causes poverty, really and truly.
We need.
Yeah, but
Where do you go ahead?
at the end of the day, especially if you have children, that is something you do. I understand what you're saying. Yes, it's going to be a setback in life and all of these things. You know what's also a setback in life? Losing your children to crime. That's a huge setback in life. Mothers just go crazy in St. Anne's because the children lost to crime. So that's how you just... Huh?
At what point society gonna push back? When? Never?
It don't have the ability to. What would you want me to do with my cutlass? Drag it on the ground and them fellas and them coming out with automatic?
I'm gonna pop a disclaimer. For later in life. Protect your family at all costs. Protect your family and their property at all costs. If you sit down and wait, crime can happen anytime. And then after the crime happen is when the police come. The crime don't happen, the violation don't happen. Don't happen. The police just come to pull some tape and measure up. That is all. They want to pull some tape and measure a scene. That is it. So better you defend yourself.
Yeah,
the idea.
I don't mind that idea at all. And that's why I say I think that I do actually believe, and it's not just being gun happy or thinking you could read. I actually do believe a more armed population would actually help in Trinidad's case. I actually do believe that, honestly. I really do. The state of the country, I think that would indeed be a benefit. You're actually giving people the power to take it back, to take back their communities. And if people have the power to protect their communities and take back their communities, then they'd have more of a vested interest in the community. It's theirs. They can do this. And to me, that's the idea you want. That's the idea of a free people, that you are free to do as you will and protect yours and create your own little something there, ideally. But that's not the situation we live in right now. What will it take for the communities to take it back? I think some communities have done it before. There are communities where they pushed out negative elements. As I said, the problem is when the elements become entrenched already. That's where it becomes nearly impossible for normal people to do it. But in the one or two cases, it is possible. I have seen that happen in communities. This person, somebody move in and try to start a little something there. They come and they make, boy, y'all ain't doing nothing, boy, y'all ain't saying, and it works. It works. That kind of being a Karen. Get tied up. You need Karens in society, you know. Society is protected and saved by Karens. You need a lot of Karens to keep our society going. Look at all societies. That matriarch mother who looking out for everything going on around and making sure people not breaking the rules. They are the ones who make civilization. Every civilization.
How come not even the arms dealers in Trinidad and Tobago pushing for the arm laws to be amended? How come they not even pushing for the laws to be amended?
Because they have guns. They don't care. They have guns. And when you hear how much guns many of those arms dealers are selling to the law enforcement branches, they don't need any more sales. You see, if you legalize or open the firearms industry, that's just going to make competition for them. Somebody else is going to come in and want to sell too. As it stands, the process, the system as it stands is working beautifully for them. They are armed, their family is armed, they have direct contact to all the police, to all the law enforcement, because they supply them with guns, and they have sure contract. They know exactly how much money is going to come in every month when the police and the regiment use how much ever and how much ever and how much. Why would they tamper with that? They don't care to tamper with that. For what?
And there's only like one.
No, it's not one.
No, it's not one. I know for sure there are many. There are quite a few. But there are several that have been in the news. The one that was allegedly abducted from Barbados. Then the one who is in the case with Ula, that's another guy with a Syrian name. Then there's one that has been suing Ula going and coming. He and his wife. His wife is a lawyer. They've been suing Ula going and coming. Going and coming. So there are numerous out there. There are numerous out there.
I thought it was the same family. My bad.
Those are three different dealers. Alright. It's 11:05. I'm looking to dive out. Anything further to say, Ronnie?
Oh gosh, right. I just wanted to say this one thing. I was scrolling on TikTok, right? I had two things, but I can forget that first one until probably next week. I was scrolling on TikTok and I was watching a little clip of Coach Carter come up now. And then I realized, I think a huge problem that we as like descendants of slaves have, and a lot of other people too, but I will just focus on us for now, is lack of discipline, right? Now, I never thought I was an indisciplined person before, but this year showed me that I really indisciplined with a lot of things, right? And I think lack of discipline is where we develop all our issues in the Black community. I think a lot of our issues will be solved if we could practice some self-control and moderation and accountability. So I'm working on that this year, and I urge everybody else work on that.
Word. That's a word. Abdul, anything, bro?
Well, listen to that. I think I lose hope for things in Trinidad right now, yes. I didn't really see.
I could ask you a question.
Yeah.
Where would you move to if you leave Trinidad and Tobago?
I ain't see I'm moving away. If I was the opportunity to leave,
if
yes,
you were to leave,
I would go Saudi or Oman. That is where I would go if I was to leave here. If I had the opportunity to leave here.
I mean, you always have the opportunity, but okay.
I would go Saudi or Oman. I'm more Oman because I don't need a national to own 50% of my business if I open a business.
Okay.
I understand that kind of lose hope feeling. Yeah, I could get that feeling too. I remember I spoke to one of the conversations, the few conversations I had, was supposed to have a lot more of those on the YouTube channel, with the CEO of TTMF, and I was asking him about some of that stuff of manufacturers of TTMA, not MF. And I was asking him about the crime situation and if he thinks he would move and stuff, and he said if ever it seems like he can't do anything about it, and that's kind of, I understand that, where if you feel like you can't do anything about it, like why would you stay? And
exactly.
that doesn't just pertain to one area in the country. That kind of pertains to the country on a whole, and it puts the country in a dicey place in terms of keeping its talent, etc. It's a dicey place. I fully agree with what you said, Ronnie. I do believe that the problems in the black community, a lot of it stem from a lack of discipline. I think a lot of that lack of discipline started when through the Black Power movement, a lot of the black community adopted communism. Many black people are communists and they don't even know it. They think that everybody deserves to have things equally, and because their ancestors or somebody or themselves had some unfair thing, this man fighting me down and this man fighting me, that kind of fighting me down communist kind of belief, it doesn't help. It doesn't help anyone. Really, it doesn't help you. And and if you lack discipline to go out and get it done, it makes it even worse. So yeah, discipline is a major facet. Discipline is just making yourself do what you want to do. Make yourself do it. And if you can't make yourself do it, you're in trouble. Alright people, that's all I have for now. Until the next live, I hope you stay well. I hope you're educated, informed, or entertained. This was the Mindful Live. I'm Nathan Springer, joined by my beautiful host. Say good night.
Good night.
Until next one people, bye bye. I'm out.